Alrighty, so you asked me, I basically gave you an introduction about the key problems behind what happened yesterday, okay? But what happened yesterday really required my special, recording here today, and that's why I asked you to help me to record it, the facts. I want to take this opportunity to let Darren and his wife and the children, in the future when they're willing to see the truth, they can know what is going on, okay, in their family. In the year of 2015, the charter school project, I remember I told you in my previous recording that, I sent a charter school application to New York State charter school office, over 100 page. And when they received it, they were impressed deeply. And so I think that year 78 applicants, they chose 26 applicants from the 78 and are considered to be the best and are ready to go through public review and ultimately give funding. The funding is $75,000 for each approved charter school and give charter. Once applicant, the team has charter, they basically will be eligible as a 501c3 nonprofit organization, equivalent to seek for donations from the community, and it's tax deductible. And then they also have grants. So the startup package is $75,000, right? And with the grants and also the rights to raise funds, usually the team can very quickly operate a charter school for 5 years. After the 5 years, if the performance is excellent, then that charter school will be allowed to operate for the rest of the time. Okay, so Dr. Wang did 2 years of very careful community study, and especially the Fujianese children. For one child, 600 hours of free tutoring to help a Fujianese child. Well, she was born in America, but was shipped back to China in Fujian, spent with grandparents, and then shipped back to America to start the public school. And usually their English is no good. So, I basically went into the community to deliver free tutorings for children like that to help them catch up with their schoolwork. And in helping those Fujianese children, I realized that the current public school is not doing well. The current public school in this district all lacking the fundamental resource to support the Chinese immigrant children, because the teachers only speaks English and the children only speaks Chinese. So there is no way the Chinese students can quickly catch up, although they have certain special classrooms, but still very, very poor, support. So eventually I decided that we shall build the Chinese charter school. Primarily is to not only help the Chinese immigrant children, but for American children, 5,000 years of traditional Chinese culture is wonderful, right? So 2012, when the charter school application was selected by the charter school office, and immediately the news all come to interview. And so immediately they asked Dr. Lotus King Weiss, myself, why you want to do charter school while before you were an American Cancer Society scholar. So I have to tell them the truth that my lab got forcibly shut down by Gary Locke. I'm a persecuted scholar. And in order to build my own nonprofit organization, I do community service to begin with. And because I have done community service, the first project that presented to me by the children's request, the parents, the mother's request, is for me as a scholar to help them with their children's education. That's why I'm building charter school, right? The news, when they hear about Falun Gong, those reporters, some of them are very influenced by the Chinese government's hate propaganda infiltrated into America. they started to say certain statements about Falun Gong to be political, anti-government, or consider it to be religious or whatever. They don't know the truth, right? So when the news started to be like that, eventually caused quite a lot of trouble to me. And so when that eventually escalated, immediately after news come out, actually the New York Department of State Charter School Office, the leader is a Chinese immigrant, like a Gary Locke, third generation or whatever, but the last name is Chong, Cliff Chong, okay? He is the director of the Charter School Office. When he hears about my identity as a Falun Dafa practitioner, guess what he did? Immediately took out our application from the already approved 26 first batch of applicants, and forever shut down the door for me to even apply again. Another case about Chinese immigrants in America. Are they working for America or are they working for the Chinese government? Right?
Right.
Yeah. So because of that, what's dramatically happened next is interesting. Number one, our application was immediately considered to be not ready. Okay, pulled out from the State Department of Education website. And then the reporter says that Falun Gong practitioner schools cannot get any students. Why? Because the Chinese immigrants students, they don't dare to come to this school. If they come to a Falun Gong practitioner school, they cannot even go return to China, right? And then, basically, the next thing was that the Falun Dafa practitioners website published an announcement stating that Dr. Lotus King Wise is not a Falun Dafa practitioner. Those are all happening in 2013. Then, strange thing happened. Dr. Wang, the parents, the brother, suddenly showed special interest to Dr. Wang. And Dr. Jianxin Bao, Dr. Wang's brother, showed up in Flushing and said to Dr. Wang, our parents, not Dr. Wang, and at the time it was already the name of Dr. Lotus King Wise, myself, right? But they treat me as Dr. Wang, They go, parents said that Flushing is no good. You should just leave here because Falun Gong doesn't want you anymore. Mom said that I shall buy you a house in New Jersey, right? So I said, no, thank you. It's not that Falun Gong doesn't want me anymore, because Falun Gong can be practiced by anybody. And there is no membership, there is no prohibition for anybody to practice it. So although, that website may have some misunderstandings, but I'm continuing to be a practitioner. I will continue to practice, right? I will continue to build my charter school, right? So Dr. Jianxin Bao was very disappointed. He thought he could lure me away from Flushing, right? So at the end of that meeting, the final departure lunch, before Dr. Jianxin Bao planning to return to his workplace in St. Louis, suddenly he said, my wife gave me a number to call. She heard you want to rent an office space, a home, safe place, so that was the number that leading to the finding of this home in our neighborhood. Now that's a Fujianese home. And so 2015 springtime, I came to this home. I walked into the living room. I saw a baby crib. I asked for the birthday of the baby, and that birthday happened to be immediately after the death of one of the key supporters of our charter school program, Miss Angelina DeCazara. Okay, so Miss Angelina DeCazara, she supported the charter school project big time, and she wanted to see the success of this project. Even when she was, leaving this world, her pocket still has the plan for the charter school. So when I heard that date of the birth of the new baby and the coincidence of the death date of Angelina, my heart connected for some interesting reason, decided that I will rent the room in that house. Okay. So that was the reason that Whole Elephant Institute Charter School Program office, basically this is in this neighborhood about 5 minutes away from the Garden Jewish Center. Purely for me to station in this community with a goal to build the first Chinese charter school in our community. Okay.